thank you, first of all, President Bennett, and I too worked with your son Drick, and he is one of the most capable economic development professionals I ever will be associate with. So I was very pleased to hear that relationship. And Councilman Zone, I have to point out that if you know this the sport of baseball very well or softball, that the position that requires the most athletic ability is shortstop, and he was the shortstop. What you need to be a good third baseman is the ability to take balls off your chest, pick it up, and throw it. And so there's the athlete over there. But Chris and I are very appreciative of your group for the invitation to speak to you today. I think it's very timely. It's a great opportunity for us to explain what we've been about, the city of Cleveland, the past year and a half, and for me to explain Mayor Frank Jackson's perspective. And that's really what I'm going to focus on. I won't take up much time because Chris Nielsen has a great PowerPoint that covers everything we've been about. I just want to give you all a little background so you know how we came to approach some of these issues that Chris will be telling you about. I worked with then Council President Frank Jackson on his campaign for mayor in the summer and fall of 2005. And at that time, I had many conversations with then Council President Jackson about his views of a regional economy. And notice that I put it that way purposefully. He will use the word regionalism, but some people talk about regionalism as regional government, either merging governments or metropolitan government, and that's not what Mayor Jackson's about, never has been. He approaches regional business from a different angle. His angle is one of, we've got a large number of communities in Cuyahoga County, Northeast Ohio, and we should be working together to retain business in the region, attract business in the region, and his perspective is, how can we do a better job of working together, developing trust amongst our communities, and working together to keep our businesses here and attract new business. That was his perspective on the campaign trail. It didn't get much coverage. And in fact, we were frequently painted as the campaign that really was inward looking and didn't care about the community outside. The irony of that is that Frank Jackson, I think, cares about Cleveland in the region more than any recent predecessor. And I hope we're starting to demonstrate that. Mayor Jackson did get elected, we took office, and one of our first big issues really makes the point in the argument, and that was we had to cope with the Cleveland Cavaliers' expressed desire to build a new state-of-the-art practice facility. And the word we were getting back in late January, early February of 2006 is they weren't looking to build it in downtown Cleveland. Now, the prior administration had spent a fair amount of energy trying to entice the Cavs to build downtown, and we credit them for that. That was a try that was worth, attempting. But we had been told by several knowledgeable sources that the Cavaliers really were not interested in that, and they were looking for a suburban location. So Mayor Jackson called the president of the Cavaliers, Dan Gilbert, and had him in for a meeting in our dining room up in second floor of City Hall. And we had a very, very honest, open discussion about the Cavaliers, where they were heading, what their corporate vision was, and how this practice facility fit into that vision. It became apparent as we heard the discussion that Mr. Gilbert and his upper management team had given a tremendous amount of thought to this practice facility. They looked at other state-of-the-art franchises like San Antonio as the model, and they looked at where their players resided and their travel distances and a whole host of factors. And they had concluded that the ideal situation for them, to make them as competitive as they needed to be, to help them attract free agents and entice these players from other teams to come to Cleveland, was to build a suburban practice facility. Now, this is against everything we usually fight for at the city of Cleveland, that Mayor Jackson was used to fighting for as council president. But it really is the best example I can give you of his approach to what he calls regional cooperation. And that is, after the meeting, he called several of us aside and said, look, it's apparent this company needs to move the practice facility out of Cleveland to be as competitive as they need to be. We should respect that. Therefore, our next trip should be to the mayor of Independence and ultimately to their city council to work out the best terms to allow the Cavaliers to get what they want, but also have a fair arrangement between Cleveland and Independence, which is where the Cavs seem to be focused on. So within a week or 10 days of that meeting with Mr. Gilbert of the Cavaliers, Mayor Jackson and myself and our Chief of Government Affairs, Valerie McCall, all drove down to Independence, and we paid a visit to Mayor Ramos. And we got a short little tour of his beautiful building, and he got to tell us a little bit about his plans and vision for Independence. And then we sat down and talked turkey. We heard some very interesting stories about how in the past year or two there had been an attempt by some folks in Cleveland to entice one of his main businesses up to Cleveland, and had dangled the possibility of income tax abatements to induce that move. That was abhorrent to us. Mayor Jackson abhors income tax abatements because it's taking precious tax revenue and diverting it. And in Cleveland, probably same in many of your communities, more than half of our budget comes out of our income tax. And if we start abating it for companies, no, that's not going to work. Now,